Hello, hello. This is Denk's dad here with Amberflight Gaming, and today I get to show off these new Cowboy Bebop Challenger Series decks and Trigun Stampede Challenger Series decks for Universus, which is really awesome. So, just to give a little bit of background on these, this year Universus is branching out on IP again, going back to its roots of having more games, and My Hero Academia is going to be a part of this year, but we also have lots of other awesome IPs like Cowboy Bebop, Trigun Stampede, Critical Role shows, Mighty Nine, and Legend of Vox Machina, and even Attack on Titan later. So if you're a fan of this game, it's going to be a very exciting year. And with the standard format, these new IPs will be making their entry into most tournaments near you this February. But for now, if you want to get a hold of these have beautiful cards, some reprints of older Cowboy Bebop cards that came out back in Universus Past, or entirely new stuff on the Trigun Stampede side. And each of these decks in total introduces 21 different cards, so lots of new tools to play with. There are 60 card decks total, which will be the rule of the new format for this year. We're moving up from 50 to 60 cards, and these decks fresh out the box will be legal and for the most part competitive. You'll be able to make a couple upgrades if you would like, or bring these cards into your other decks on those symbols, and yeah, they're going to be strong. So first off, we'll start with Cowboy Bebop. So I'll say that initially this was not an IP that I was familiar with. Cowboy Bebop is a show that I had heard about. I know lots of people love it. It's one of the first big anime IPs to really branch out and sort of show anime as a legitimate art form and real serious thing that you can have. But, it's a little bit before my time, coming out when I was only just a little kid. And, for a show with so many adult themes, it's not something that I got my hands on back in the day. So I got to check it out, watch a couple episodes, and while I can say it's not entirely my thing, it is really cool. And, Spike and Faye, who are the titular characters here, really do stand out. So let's take a look at them. So if you've been keeping an eye on previews, you may have seen these cards before, but we have Spike and Faye, who are great character cards, wonderful art here, great foiling. And Spike, well, he is on Earth, Life, and Water, and he has Enhance, flip one foundation. If this attack deals damage, draw one card. And Enhance, your attack is +1 speed and +1 damage for every 3 face down foundations in your stage. So this character is really interesting. Spike is all about getting to that 9 face down foundation breakpoint so that you're getting +3/+3 on all of your attacks. Kind of reminiscent of Edge Shot or Shoto Todoroki from Jetburn, or Jiro 1 even from the original My Hero Academia set, which is pretty good pedigree. It seems like Spike will have a place. Just, that first Enhance, if this attack deals damage, draw one card, is a bit risky. But notably, Spike can use this on defense as well. So, kind of akin to Hood, he can stack up a hand of cards, sculpt, and then go in. Maybe even if you have a large hand for blocking and your opponent is not going all in, you can just keep stacking it up, maybe even have 7 or 8 cards on your turn, and hit them hard with a lot of attacks with +3/+3. You also can, of course, take the gamble on your own offense, flip your foundation, hope your attack deals some damage. And notably, there's not a condition for throw. So if you are running throws, then Spike is going to get his card draw no matter what. So pretty cool there. Faye, on the other side, is on Chaos, Life, and Water. So Life and Water are going to be the common theme between these two. Chaos and Earth will sort of be the different ways you can go with each. Faye is a 7-hander with only 21 health compared to Spike's 6-hand and 29 health. And she has Enhanced Tenacious, flip 1 foundation. This attack gets +2 or -2 damage. So, like Spike, she is still sticking in that realm of flipping foundations. She also has a response. Commit after your attack deals damage, add the top card of your discard pile to your hand. So if you are checking attacks, have ways to discard cards or destroy your foundations, you can get a card that you want to be there on the top of your discard and then pick it up. Chaos also is really good with spending momentum, so maybe that's where those attacks are coming from that you want more of. So yeah, Faye is pretty sick. Functionally, an 8-hander can take damage off of attacks, put more damage on her own. And while I'm not sure what her strength is particularly compared to some of the other characters, she seems just generally very solid. So looking through the deck here, we have Spaceland. We've got Ein, who even in the first couple episodes you get to meet then. And just looking at these cards, really, really wonderful art and foiling on these. I think, with Jetburn, they've figured out some of the printing issues they may have had in the past to a degree, moved, and these are just beautiful. Looking like at the comparison to kind of set 2 XRs, these foils just all look awesome, even in the base deck. And lots of interesting cards. So there's a couple I want to talk about once I just kind of finish riffing through this here, just to make sure everything is here. I can go and talk about a few of these that I think could be really, really powerful in Standard. So right off the bat is Spaceland. This is ridiculous. It's an action, so 3 diff for control, 2 high block. It has first enhance if there are 10 or more face-down foundations in both player stages combined. This attack is unblockable. End this enhance step. So with Spike and Faye, flipping foundations is going to be a key part of the game plan, especially for Spike on Earth. Making your opponent flip foundations is not really a tall ask, and most decks are going to have face-down foundations in some capacity anyway. So this reads, if you have a lot of cards in hand, you have room for this, make your attack unblockable, and end the game late. This is 10 foundations at both stages, so it doesn't have to be deadlock. It's really, really cool for letting a character like Spike force through that last bit of damage, maybe just run an attack with a big number on it. It doesn't have to be something like it, but just hypothetically, an attack like Hulking Grimace can just force through 10 damage. With Spike's boost, maybe 12. You can see that this gets out of control a bit. So I'm a big fan of that enhance. And then on your rival's turn, you can play this and remove it, ready 3 face down foundations. So while it's great on offense, on defense, you can just ready your whole board again, make that block your rival might not have expected, and sort of bait that overextension that lets you end the game without making attack unblockable. So on either side, Spaceland is great. It's on fire, life, and water. So Earth can't use this one, but fire having another great aggressive action is not something that symbol is going to complain about. And maybe Dobby will be able to make good use of this as another character. Ein, another asset. My own play group, we have a few fans out there who love the green cards, and Ein, I think, is another one with potential. As enhance, if you have 3 or more face down foundations, draw a card. So pretty nice off an asset to just give you an extra card every turn. And then on your attack, you can commit it, and if you have 8 or more face down foundations, your rival discards a card. So can get rid of that block, can maybe force your rival to go in a little bit more. And on life, void, and water, those are nice ones again. There are characters I know like Hood, for example, who love to just build out into deadlock, flip foundations, and a card like Ein could be pretty nice there. So we are going to go a little bit deeper here. There's, let's see. Next. So Hunter's Pursuit will be the first attack that we talk about here. So this one is pretty nice. It has Enhance. It's 5 difficulty, 5 low for 5, 2 mid block, so decent numbers. And it has Enhance. You have 3 or more face down foundations. Your next attack, it's -2 difficulty. Capture Evildoers is gone, so we love cheating progressive difficulty in any way that we can. And on Earth, Life, and Water, all those symbols are happy to have this. It's an ally too, which means that you might be able to do some pair-ups on Life or Water with a character like Koji, or just, the attack Tasty Riff. That's a good 1-card combo there. So Hunter's Pursuit, I think, is of the attacks the one from this deck that is going to just be everywhere in Standard. Now, any foundations I wanted to address? Yes. So there is, last but not least, Skeptical, which is 1 difficulty, 3 mid block, 4 check, so not great numbers, but the effect is really nice. Tenacious Flip response: after you flip a foundation, ready this foundation. So just once again, really good way to have a pressure turn to go in, or just turtle up on defense. Just a very solid card. Then last is Syndicate Target. 0 difficulty, 6 control, 0 low block modifier, great numbers, and after you play this as a block, lose 1 health. Now, that is a downside. Losing a health if you're blocking a low is not the best, but this does block lows, and being a 0 check or a 0 diff with a 6 check is incredible. So if you are on Death especially, which has struggled with having good 0 difficulty foundations, Syndicate Target is a bit of a godsend. This is just exactly the card that Death decks are looking for, and I know Life and Water players won't be complaining either, especially after rotation. So that's what I wanted to say about the cards in this deck, but of course we're not done. We have this nice collector's booster. So these are only contained within these Challenger decks, and the booster pack could have cards for alternate art that were any of the ones we saw. So a lot of these alternate arts feature different characters. If you go back and watch the official showcase that UVS had, you can see some of these cards. Like, just as an example, I believe it was High Roundhouse Kick, which you can see with Spike here in the art. But in the alternate version, it's actually Faye. So there's a gamer article as well. I'll have a link in the description of this video that shows you all of the alt art. But they changed the flavor of the card a lot with these, and they are pretty cool. So Finally Awake, Sing for Me, looking good. See that Syndicate Target just compared to the other. This is just gorgeous golden foiling. Looks really nice. Falling Heel Strike. Ending the Dream here. And last but not least, Fateful Meeting. So pretty sort of cool, like kind of little extra in there as well for you. You can obviously switch out these cards, change the ratios in the starter deck, but ultimately it's just another little cool thing that they added. Now, just on a last note before I move on, I will say that, you know, with My Hero Academia, I think the Universus team really knocked it out of the park in terms of kind of evoking the character's design, and in a world where everyone has either no quirk or a very hyper-specific superpower that's tuned to them, it's, I think, a lot more straightforward to express that in a card. And Spike and Faye, at least from what I have seen so far, you know, in a sort of abstract sense, I think do get there. But looking at these cards and just reading the text, I don't immediately see Spike or Faye there. And, maybe getting further along in the anime might help me with that. But, let me know in the comments what you think. Do you think that, Spike and Faye really feel like those characters? And if you have any ideas for what a design might look like that's even more evocative of their, personalities and abilities, or if there are certain things you like about these, let me know. I'm happy to kind of learn more about the characters, and it's really fun getting to play with a character that you know really well and can identify with, on top of enjoying from a gameplay perspective. So next up is Trigun Stampede. So this one is something I had not heard of at all until this Challenger series came out. And I have been trying my best to do my homework with this one. I am 6 episodes in right now out of the 12, and I can say that I have really liked it so far, and I'm looking forward to finishing. So I've made it far enough, though, that I've gotten to get a good chance to know the characters. And Vash the Stampede and Nicholas D. Wolfwood are the two that we have on character cards here. So these guys, pretty neat. I will say, looking at Wolfwood especially, from a game mechanics perspective, this is a card I was excited to play with. So he's a 28 health, 6-hander. He has enhanced mill 1. Your ranged or weapon attack is plus 3 damage. So, if you are an experienced card game player, you know that more often than not, milling a card off the top of your deck is a benefit, not a downside. So giving plus 3 damage to pretty much all the attacks you're going to be playing in your deck with a little bit of upside there is awesome. And my aggro brain says, get him dead. And Wolfwood is really good at that, both in the game and in the show, as I came to find out. He also has response, discard 1 momentum. After your combat phase begins, draw 2 cards and gain 2 health. And, from this design, you see this dude carrying a big cross. It's not really evident why that is there. But I think that, watching the show, getting to know Nicholas, see his backstory, these abilities make a lot more sense than, they would look on a first read if you're not familiar with the IP. And this one, I think, really does feel like the character. So I'm really excited to try him out. I know he looks ridiculous, and I loved that the first episode he appeared in, every line of dialogue directed at him was roasting his character design. So, the makers of Trigun Stampede knew what they had here, and I really, really do like this character, and I'm excited to play with them. Symbols, of course, all death and fire, and I can see death and fire especially just being a perfect fit for Nicholas. So then we have Vash the Stampede, same stat line, 28 health, 6 cards in hand, and he has Enhanced Mill 1, it's Tenacious, your attack gets plus 2 speed, then Enhance Commit, discard 1 attack, draw 3 cards. So in the show, Vash is a pacifist. That's in the description of the anime. I read that. I was like, okay, but he's an anime protagonist. How much of a pacifist can he be? And Vash is a big time pacifist. And I think the card undersells it a little bit. So, I can sympathize with the Universus team. They really wanted this card not to be too distracting from the game. And especially with something like an alternate win condition, because in the show, Vash will not aggressively lash out at almost anyone. Spoilers aside, there is only one character that Vash has been aggressive toward at all in what I've seen, and it seems like it's not without reason. So, this is, for a product like this especially, you want cards that are proactive, you want cards that are exciting, and you want cards that play the game in a way that will sort of resonate with other experiences for the player. So I think this design makes a lot of sense, and it's a bit evocative of Vash, but selfishly, I really hope that these sell well, because I want them to come at Vash again with something that is a little bit more flavorful, that actually is, completely pacifistic, maybe with an alternate win condition, maybe more defensive enhance abilities. I mean, the second one can be very defensive for sure, but, I just want more. And Vash is an awesome character, really, really interesting, and I am super eager to play more with him and build some decks on, of course, all death, and for him, life. So let's take a look at these cards. So right off the bat, we have Avoiding Conflict. So this time I'm not going to riff through them. I'm just going to talk about these because these ones get me excited. So Avoiding Conflict, I think, is the strongest card that has been printed since I've started playing Universus. So it's an action, 1 difficulty, 5 check, 1 mid block. Response remove: after this card enters your discard pile during the enhanced step, this attack gets +2 damage or -2 speed. So already pretty good. Fire and Death have a good amount of self-mill. Nicholas Wolfwood can use this, ironically enough. He's not a conflict avoider, but he sure can use the card. So, that's pretty decent. But this also has an enhance. Place this card on the bottom of your deck, draw 1 card. That is absurd. So, if you are playing Avoiding Conflict, it's not the best to have in your hand turn 1, but anytime later in the game, this card functionally cuts the size of your deck by 1, which is pretty good. Coming from other card games, playing a lot of Magic the Gathering, Hearthstone, Legends of Runeterra, this effect is very, very powerful. And I don't know if maybe in the retro sets there's anything comparable, but currently in the standard format, there is not. And I think that decks that are on these all death and fire symbols will be trying to play some number of these, and it will likely be 3 or 4. This card is super, super strong, and even if it's not an attack with big numbers, or not like Spaceland, where it says unblockable or does something that's, a little bit more exciting, Avoiding Conflict is just going to be the backbone of consistent decks on these symbols, and yeah, it's a sure thing. If there's any card that I would expect to get banned from these at any point, it is this one. It is really, really good. So if you like these symbols or you like the characters and you want to play with something powerful, I cannot recommend going with the Trigun Stampede deck for Avoiding Conflict. Interdimensional plants are pretty cool. This is another asset, 3 difficulty, 5 check, 2 high block. It has commit, destroy 1 foundation, draw 1 card. Your next check to play a card gets +1. Pretty nice. Kind of like Ein, this lets you just, keep your card advantage going. Also, boosting your check is really good. So you can commit a foundation. On death, this is really, really nice. Like you could use this with a character like Inasa or Wolfwood or just about anyone you want on those symbols that can take advantage of the destruction and can... A little bit of a technical issue, but resuming, really happy with Pitching In's design. I love how this card can sort of be a tech piece, maybe something for those top of discard strategies if we get more support. So last but not least, Prideless Negotiations, another amazing 0 difficulty foundation, 2 mid block, 5 control, so not bad, and it has Breaker 1 on top of all of that. It's on the life symbol notably as well, so it can be another foundation that can combo with Incredible Display to just put all of these breakers on your opponent, make their life hard, and you can just play it as a 0 diff when you need to build out. So very, very cool. And then of course I think the foundation that is the most powerful for this deck strategy is Seen It All, and I think this will be a constructed player. 2 difficulty, 1 mid block, 4 control. So the first 2 numbers are good, last one not so much, but it has enhance. The top card of your discard pile is an attack. This attack gets +1 speed or +1 damage. And having free repeatable pump is nice, especially if you can take advantage of cards that manipulate this. Maybe something like Pitching In, something like Vash's Enhance. There are applications for this, and I'm interested to see what players come up with. So I think that's all I want to say about those cards for now. And, well, last but not least, let's crack into our alternate art pack and see if we are lucky. So, immediately, we have Suspended Bounty. So, this is, minor spoiler, actually how you meet Vash immediately in episode 1 of the show. So, I love this art there. Cool art for pitching in. So, we have Vash showcase instead of Meryl. But she is there now on this Get the Scoop. Nimble Maneuver. Love this effect here of how the gun is popping out over the letters. That's really cool. Merciful Volley from Wolfwood. And then that alternate of Inevitable Clash is just beautiful. So, now, I bet you could probably tell my bias may have been showing just a smidge during that recording, but I can say pretty firmly that the Trigun deck is the one that I think, from a flavor perspective, I thought was really cool. And from gameplay mechanics side of it, also, sort of appeals to the things I want to be doing. I kind of like this whole clunky game of moving cards around in my discard. You can ask my local. I'm a Nezu player at heart, Kuragiri as well. Like, those sort of mechanics really appeal to me. And, Trigun Stampede hits the sweet spot there. Plus, just have loved the characters from the show. Really cool. The other side of it, I think that the Bebop deck overall has a bit more powerful of a game plan. So if you're trying to bring one of these to a standard event, maybe get your bonus LP over the next couple weeks, you may want to go about that as well. And maybe pick up that Cowboy Bebop deck. But, I'll be bringing Wolfwood to the first local that I can. And I'm excited to play with these. So let me know if you agree. If you are a Trigun Stampede fan, do you think that these cards also hit the mark like I do? Or do you think that, there's something that I'm missing or another kind of design that you would rather have seen? But yeah, thanks for watching. Be sure to check out the new UVS website. Check out those local events. If you bring these characters to any of your locals over the next couple weeks after these decks come out on the 19th, you have potential to get some extra LP if your starting character is one of these 4. And if you manage to bring all 4 within the time period before Yu Yu Hakusho Dark Tournament comes out, you're going to be collecting an even larger LP bonus on top of that to get your promos. And if you save up 2,000, the Cowboy Bebop playmat. So thanks again for watching, tuning in, and thank you to UVS Games for sending me these Challenger decks. I'm really glad that I got the opportunity to share these and walk you all through it. And I'm looking forward to showcasing some of my deck ideas and what I'm bringing in the near future as we get ready for the World Championships in a couple weeks. Thanks again, everyone, and have a great day.